I think Mr. Claudio is also signed in. Mr. Flores, Claudio Flores.
Okay.
But I don't know if the NCP has been served on that. That's on Joe Hernandez and Marlene Salas.
Yes, I have that the Nagus little parent is unserved on that case.
Okay, well,
So unless he,
okay, let me bring Mr. Flores, Claudio in just to let him know that it doesn't look like there he is. I see him. Mr. Flores, how are you? I never know where to go. Mr. Flores?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How you doing, sir? Good afternoon.
Doing well. How are you? I'm sorry, I didn't know I was muted until there a second ago.
Okay. It is me. Yeah, I set this case that you're involved in with your client is Marlene Salas.
Yes, sir.
And I said it just in case Mr. Joe Hernandez signed in or was served, but I got Lindsay on the Miss Kaplan on the online also, and she just told me that they haven't served Mr. Hernandez.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't have an address for him either.
yeah. So look like we're gonna have to reschedule that one
Okay.
so they can issue service. I don't know if your client has any what we call locate information on him so they can serve him or try to serve him.
Okay. Well, I don't think she does, or she would have gave it to me, but I think she'll be logging on here in a minute
Okay, well,
if she's not already up there somewhere.
no, not yet. I got another hearing that's already set, ready to go.
Oh, okay.
So,
Miss Kaplan, I can give you her number if you want to call my client.
yes.
It is 887-1186. And you have my permission to talk to her.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you all. Thank you, Judge.
okay, all right. Well, thank you, Mr. Flores. Let's see if we can. I'll go ahead and reschedule it or reset it.
Yes, sir.
At this point, we're resetting cases to September.
Okay.
We might get an earlier setting, if things lighten up in the courthouse and we're able to go back there.
Yes, sir.
So, but in the meantime, we'll let you know.
Okay. Thanks, Judge. Have a great afternoon.
All right, you too, sir. Take care. All right. Vargas is also signed in. Are you going to take this case, Ms. Kaplan, or is he
Yes,
just?
Your Honor.
Okay, let me get the folks in. Mr. Fabian Delgado. Salome Delgado. They're both connecting. Ms. Delgado?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Are we to see I have Mr. Fabian Flores also trying to sign in. Mr. Flores?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I have you on the line too. So, all right. Okay, I have from the Attorney General's office, Ms. Lindsay Kaplan, who is the Assistant AG, who's going to be presenting this case. Let me go ahead and start the hearing and start the recording on this case. All right, at this time, the court is calling cause number 2014 DCM 4024. This is a hearing on a motion to, a petition to confirm a non-agreed child support review order that was done in the Attorney General's office back in February, I believe. The parties in this case are Fabian Flores and Salome Flores, but I understand, ma'am, you're going by Delgado today.
Yes, sir.
All right. Both parties are present. The order that was, the proposed order that was done in the Attorney General's office was, I believe, a motion to modify and to confirm child support arrearage. So you requested this hearing because you were not in agreement with the order that was proposed at the Attorney General's office. But we have this hearing here scheduled today. My name is Antonio Rodriguez. I'm the Associate Judge for the Title 4D Court here in El Paso, Texas. We are appearing on a remote hearing basis. Due to the pandemic crisis that's going on, we're not allowed to conduct any in-person hearings at the courthouse. However, the Supreme Court of Texas and the Council of Judges here in El Paso has authorized courts to conduct these remote hearings through the remote hearings. In this case, we're appearing through the Zoom application. Both parties are present. I have a couple of ground rules that I'd like to advise the parties. This is being recorded on the live, and then being carried on live on the YouTube channel. It is being recorded by the court. The advised parties not to make any recordings of this proceedings here today. Further, since we are appearing through Zoom, sometimes the audio cuts off. And if both people are talking at the same time, it will not record properly. So I would ask parties not to interrupt each other and to have whatever testimony, if you can speak loudly so I can hear it and be recorded. All right, those are the basic ground rules. You are in court, although we're not physically in the courthouse. I am an associate judge, and I'm conducting this hearing as if we were in court. So I'd expect parties behave according to that conduct that's required when people do show up to court. All right, all those are the ground rules. We'll go ahead and get started on this hearing. And Mr. Flores, are you ready to proceed today, sir?
Yes, sir.
Needs to speak up just a little bit louder, please.
Yes, sir.
All right, okay. And Ms. Delgado, you're also ready to proceed?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to ask the Attorney General to make an announcement on this case. Ms. Kaplan, go ahead.
Yes, Lindsay Kaplan, Your Honor, ready to proceed at this time.
Okay. All right, with that being said, I'm going to ask both parties. Mr. Flores, I understand you're appearing telephonically. You're not appearing on any sort of video. But I'm going to ask both parties, please, to raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Mr. Flores, I'm assuming that you are raising your right hand, sir. Do you and each of you solemnly swear that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Mr. Flores?
I do.
Okay, you need to speak up a little bit louder, sir, okay? Thank you. All right, Ms. Kaplan, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state requests that the court take judicial notice of the child support review order signed on July 1st of 2019.
2019 or 18? I didn't quite hear.
2019, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, the order of 2019 is in the court file, and I have reviewed it. It does appear to be in proper form, duly signed by the appropriate judicial officers and filed with the clerk's office. So I will take judicial notice of the June of 2019 court order. All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the state calls Miss Flores as a witness.
Okay, go ahead.
Ma'am, what is your name?
Salome Delgado.
Uh, are you known by any other names?
Previously Salome Flores, and I was married to Mr. Flores.
Okay, but now your legal name is Delgado, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you make the child support office aware of your name change?
When we went into the hearing in March or April, I did.
Okay. And you appeared on or about February 24th of 2020 for a child support review process conference, is that correct?
Yes,
And you disagreed with the proposed order that resulted from that conference, correct?
correct.
And what is the source of your disagreement, ma'am?
I strongly believe that Mr. Flores is presenting less than what he is making. I am not asking for the same amount of child support. I understand that his income is very different since the income in Odessa is extremely high compared to the income in El Paso. But we do have a daughter with special needs, and I constantly have to stop working. I've stopped working for months and months at a time. And all I was telling him is that he has to at least provide to where we can pay our rent. Um, the moments I've gone without working for 5, 6, 7, 8 months because of our daughter's health. And the amount that you all are saying that he's supposed to give me by what he presented, which was just copies of his checks that his employer is giving him, isn't even enough to suffice for me to pay the rent when I do have to stop working. I constantly have to be going to Houston or at Children's Hospital for weeks and weeks at a time. It doesn't meet the ground. Like, you all are just going based off of the copies of the check that he gave you. I was married with Mr. Flores for 13 years. I know the amount of money he makes. He makes close to $100,000 a year, and to go from that to just making $2,000 a month is unreal to me. It doesn't make sense.
Ma'am, there are 3 children before the court in this case, correct?
Correct. We have
And
3
you mentioned one of those children has special needs.
Yes, ma'am.
And which child is that, ma'am?
Our oldest daughter, Yanira Flores.
And does her disability prevent her from taking care of herself and being self-supporting beyond the age of 18?
100%. She is completely nonverbal. She has the mentality of a 1-year-old or less. She does use a wheelchair. She has cerebral palsy. She has Marshall-Smith syndrome. She has no motor skills. She has to be fed. She is in incontinence supplies. So she does require attention 24 hours a day. I have to bathe her. She has to be fed. She has to be taken care of because she will, you know, the little bit that she does stand up, she does lose her balance. She's already broken her arm from back in the day when she did try and walk a little bit. So she does require assistance 24/7.
Okay, so she requires substantial care and personal supervision by you, correct?
Yes.
And her
But
condition was,
sorry,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
I said, well, when I'm working, my mom and my daughter, well, my daughter helps my mom watch over her while I'm at work.
And this condition that your daughter has, that was known to exist prior to the age of 18, correct?
Correct.
And to your knowledge, is Mr. Flores aware of your daughter's condition?
Yes, he is.
And page 6 of the proposed order, ma'am, uh, does allow for indefinite child support, does it not?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are in agreement with indefinite child support for your eldest daughter, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You are just in disagreement as to the amount, is that correct? To your knowledge, does Mr. Flores have any special skills or certifications?
He has his degree from University of Phoenix, not University of Phoenix, Universal Universal Technical Institute. When we were married, he went to school for diesel mechanic. So he is the diesel mechanic. He's actually a very, very good diesel mechanic. He was paid very well. Since I've been married to him, that he graduated, he hasn't earned less than $25 an hour for his skills. So he is a very, very well rounded diesel mechanic.
So you stated that when you were married that he earned over $100,000 a year.
The last couple of years that we were married, he did earn over 100,000. I believe we had to pay back on some of the years that we were married because that was at the time when we had moved to Odessa and he had started working over there, and that's where he made most of it. Like I said, I'm very aware he's now back in El Paso, and I'm not asking for the same amount of child support. I pay $700 of rent, which is maybe not a lot to a lot of people, but when I do stop working, I don't get assistance for housing. I don't get food stamps. I don't get assistance for anything. So everything falls on my work and the help that he would provide me with child support. So when I would stop working because of my daughter's health, his child support was enough to get us through, at least to pay our rent and to pay my bills. And that's all I'm asking for is not even to pay my bills, just enough for him to help us pay our rent if for any reason I have to stop working. And my daughter has an upcoming surgery that was postponed because of the corona, where I know I'm going to have to stop working for a while because she's going to get a tube into her stomach. So it's not a feeding tube, it's a tube to help with the chronic constipation that she's usually in the hospital a lot for. So I know that that's another 3 weeks to a month where I'm going to have to stop working because I do have to help her heal and then get used to using the tube and have her accommodate and adjust to it. So and he knows that he's been he hasn't provided the child support like he should since December, but I'm very grateful that at least these past month and a half, he's been in their lives more constantly. So every 2 weeks, this past month and a half at least, he's picked up the kids every 2 weeks. And, so he knows, he knows, the care that my daughter needs. She's constantly hitting her forehead. So now we have to be very careful with that because she'll injure her forehead because she's very anxious. So he's been there a little bit more, and I know he's trying, but he has to be a little bit more conscious about the health and how much of my time requires to be with her when she is sick. When she's healthy, we're good. I get that, but when she's sick, she's sick. She goes in for a same-day treatment, and for her, it turns into a 10-day stay in the hospital. When she went in for her tonsils and her adenoids, is an in and out procedure for every other child. She ended up being in the hospital almost 9 days. She lost so much weight because she's thin. So her health just deteriorates faster than my other 2 children's health. So that's all I want him to be aware of. I'm not asking for thousands and thousands in child support. I just want him to be conscious of the fact that, hey, when you do stop working, at least the kids have a place to live.
And does your daughter have any actual expenses that are not covered by health insurance?
The only thing that I'm buying that's not covered through her health insurance is her diapers. So I pay like $150 dollars for her diapers because the diapers that they would provide for her would tear within like not even an hour. And since she's constantly having um, medication and things given to her, so because she has very chronic constipation, a part of her intestine doesn't work. So the medication makes her poop extensively. So I have to get her specific kind of diapers that help her with that. So aside from Medicaid, her Medicaid provides her feeding. The only thing is her wipies, you know, her bottles, her bottle liners, her diapers, the baby cereal. Um, those are the things that come out of my pocket. Because she does
Total
drink.
how, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
She does drink her Ensure from a baby bottle. That's how kind of we've avoided the feeding tube. So she does eat soft foods and she does complement the calories she doesn't take through a baby bottle. And it has to be thickened with a baby cereal so she doesn't start choking on it. So those are things that I provide for her.
And how much would you say you spend total monthly on her items that are not covered by her insurance?
Mm, maybe like 150, and that's including bottles, liners, baby cereal, wipies, and diapers. Because I do buy like 3 boxes of diapers. They last me about a month and a half, 2 months, depending on how much um poop she gets. Like so if she has really bad diarrhea, I go through diapers like there's no tomorrow. Um I've had to throw out mattresses. I've already bought 2 mattresses where just that's just part of, you know, unfortunately of what her syndrome does to her. And so, but I mean on a good month, maybe like between $150, I would say. And that's just bottle liners, wipies, baby cereal, and diapers.
Okay. And the other two children that you have with Mr. Flores, those two children are basic needs children, correct?
Yes, they're healthy, you know, they only thing that I've had to buy out of pocket for them. I mean, aside from their clothing and things, is like his glasses, but um I get those for him every year to every year and a half.
And how much does that cost?
The last pair I bought him, I paid I think his insurance paid like $40 and then I paid like 80 or 90. So it wasn't that expensive.
So Mr. Flores has insurance for your children?
Not at this time. He did have it for them the whole time he was in Odessa. They did have very good coverage actually. Um, right now, since he moved back from Odessa, my daughter has her Social Security disability, so she gets her Medicaid through her Social Security. Um, my son and my daughter, I actually was able to apply for my daughter's Medicaid. So my son and my daughter now both have Medicaid.
And the only thing not covered by that are the glasses for your son?
Yeah, so if they broke and they only cover them once a year, and so um, depending on the frame, like some are covered at a certain percent, and I just paid the difference. So Medicaid will cover a certain amount, and then I'll just pay the difference. So that's why I said it wasn't a whole lot. I think I paid like $80 for the last pair, and that's because my son was being bullied and they broke his glasses for the second time, so they wouldn't cover them anymore.
I'm sorry to hear that, ma'am.
Yeah. But other than that, like the glasses, between the insurance my ex-husband had for them and me paying out of pocket, it was okay because when he had insurance for my children, they didn't have Medicaid. So I recently applied for Medicaid after um, the insurance stopped, which was this year.
And are you aware of why Mr. Flores stopped working in Odessa?
He told me that he had been laid off. He worked for Halliburton, and he told me that there had been layoffs and that he had been a part of that, the layoff.
Are you aware, are the layoffs at Halliburton cyclical, as in people frequently get laid off depending on the time of year or the availability of work and then rehired, or is the layoff permanent in nature?
I wouldn't know. I know they have companies all over, so I know that they had done layoffs because the oil, I guess, came, like, it went down, but I don't know if they were able to be rehired. I don't know if me and Mr. Flores don't have the best communication ever. But we try and have it at least a normal amount of communication for our kids. But as far as into detail, I don't know.
Okay, no further questions for Ms. Delgado, formerly Ms. Flores at this time.
All right, any other evidence or testimony?
The state calls Mr. Flores.
All right, go ahead. He has been sworn in.
Mr. Flores,
Yes.
what is your name, sir?
Fabian Flores?
And are you working currently, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I work at JHL Transport.
What do you do there?
I'm a mechanic here.
Are you a diesel mechanic?
Yes, ma'am. I've been diesel mechanic for several years. Or
And how much do you earn at your job as a diesel mechanic?
right now, well, like I told last time here in El Paso, there's not much work, like good paying work now. So, and here where I got the work, it's paying me that the amount that I showed last time. And right now they deducted me $200 more off of it because the transportation slowed down.
Okay. And what happened to your job in Odessa, sir?
Well, it started slowing down, and we started getting laid off. And right now, from my 24 crews, like I said, 24 crews that were working, they just left 2, and for 800 and something mechanics that were there, they just left like 50 mechanics there. So everybody got laid off, pretty much.
And is that layoff likely to be permanent, sir?
It's not permanent, but it happens. They said it's from 6 to 4 years. This happens again, especially when there's gonna be a president swap or whatever, an election. That's when everything slows down on the whole field. But a prediction is from 4 to 6 years, and it takes the whole year, pretty much the whole year, to get up again. So pretty much all this year is gonna stay low until probably next year.
Okay. And do you recall attending a child support review process conference, sir, on or about February 24th of 2020?
Yes.
And were you working at the same job that you have now at the time of that conference?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you present pay stubs at that conference?
Yeah, I presented copies like Salome said. I presented copies off of my checks because they give me written checks. They don't give me check stubs pretty much because I'm contract.
Do you have any other source of income besides this diesel mechanic job in El Paso?
No, ma'am. That's it.
Is all the income that you earn from that job reflected on your pay stubs that you presented at the conference?
Yeah, what the copies that I show, that's the checks that I was given.
Do you ever receive bonuses?
No, they don't have it's a small company that it is. It's a small company that doesn't have no insurance, doesn't have no more benefits. It's just it is what it is right now.
At this new job, you do
And
not
I'm
have insurance for your children, sir?
no, like I said, they don't have no benefits, and I'm getting paid salary, not hourly. So I don't do like overtime, nothing like that. It's just a straight pay, whatever it is, whatever I work is, it's gonna be the same pay.
And what is that salary, sir?
Uh, it was like 1,200 every 2 weeks, around there.
And is that consistent with what other diesel mechanics earn in El Paso, sir?
Yeah, it's pretty much that's what they pay around here. Even I try to apply in international border international where I used to work. I worked there for 8 years, and even I was the shop foreman there. But right now they're still the same. They don't pay, and they don't have work, nothing like that. So, and that's why I'm here. And that's the
Are you,
average right now. That's the paying average, pretty much all over El Paso.
okay. Uh, are you aware that one of your daughters has special needs, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Since she was diagnosed, since then I've been aware.
And would you be in agreement with indefinite child support for your daughter that has special needs?
Yeah, I was in agreement a while back. I was in agreement with that.
And you're still in agreement?
Yes, I'm still in agreement.
Are you aware of the $150 a month additional expenses that your special needs daughter has?
Well, she's I just heard that from her. So, but the thing is, I think she's getting a check from SSI. She has been getting check from Social Security. I don't know the amount, but what I know back then, she used to get a $700 check back then. So I don't know why she would need more money. If I need to pay, I'll pay the half of it, the 150. That's no big deal. But I know for a fact back then that she used to receive a $700 check from Social Security while she had the insurance.
Okay.
So I don't know if that will cover the expenses that she has, or is she spending more than that? I don't know. But like she said, we don't have that much communication. We try to, but on my on my deal that she used to get back then, I don't know about now, but I think she gets a check for Social Security. But I don't have the amount.
Okay. Sir, do you have any additional children in addition to these 3 children before the court, sir?
No, that's gonna be it. Them three.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, any additional evidence or testimony?
No additional evidence or testimony from the state at this time, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Flores, I didn't quite hear you. What is you said you're on salary at your,
Yes, sir.
how much is the salary at your present job?
1,200 every 2 weeks.
Said 1,200 every 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. $1,200 even?
Sorry.
Is it 1,200 even?
Yes, sir.
What was your income at the last job that you had when this order was done in a year ago?
Uh, well, the last years I made what, like 80, pretty much 80, 85,000.
Actually, the last order that was done in the case back in 2009, 19, I'm sorry, um, you were earning $457 a month.
That's correct. But I just worked 10 months. I didn't work the full year.
I know, but that's what you were, that's how they based the child support back then.
I apologize. Sorry.
Okay. So right now you're earning 1,200 a month.
1,200 every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
That's what I earn at work, and I don't get paid half of what he does.
Just a minute, man. Don't interrupt. Mr. Flores, what evidence did you take to the Attorney General's office back in February of this year?
I took copies off of my checks,
Okay. What else?
and well, that's what I took for my income. That's what I took. The copies for my checks. I used to make a copy before I go cash it.
Okay. Did your salary drop by half since the last time this order was done?
Yes, it dropped half because I know in Odessa we used to put a lot of hours. We were working from 12 hours to 16 hours a day. Then it dropped to 12 hours, and it dropped again at 11 hours. And that's when I wasn't making it over there neither. So that's when we got laid off, and that's when I moved back into El Paso.
Where were you working at in Odessa? What company?
I was working for Halliburton Services.
Okay. What kind of work were you doing?
Diesel mechanic, oil field diesel mechanic.
That's the same thing you're doing right now.
Right now, I'm being a diesel mechanic, but for a small fleet, trucking fleet.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Any other evidence or testimony, Ms. Kaplan?
No other evidence or testimony from the state at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Delgado, in addition to the diapers, what other expenses do you have for your daughter?
Things that I have,
Not covered by the
Medicaid.
Medicaid, Social Security, or anything else? That out-of-pocket expenses you have?
Just what I mentioned, just the diapers, the wipes, the bottles, the bottle liners, the baby cereal. That's
None of that is covered by Medicaid or insurance?
no, sir.
And how much does that additional special needs for the child, how much does that cover? How much does that come up to?
About 100 to 150 a month, depending how much, like I said, just depending how much of the diapers I have to buy, depending on how she's doing. That's mainly it. I mean, it's just a simple, like her bottles cost like $16 for the packet because she only drinks from a special type of bottle she's drank from her whole life.
Okay.
Um,
How old is Yanira? That's the child that's in special needs, right?
yes, she's 17.
17.
Mhm.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Ms.
Yeah.
Kaplan, anything else? Any other testimony?
Your Honor, nothing further from the state at this time.
Okay. What is the state's recommendation on this matter?
Your Honor, the state recommends that the proposed child support review process conference order be amended to include the out-of-pocket monthly expenses for the needs of the child, Yanira in this case. Um, Per the testimony of Ms. Delgado, formerly Ms. Flores, the out-of-pocket expenses are $150 a month to cover necessities for the benefit of Yanira that are not covered by insurance. Therefore, the state requests the $590 for the 3 children before the court, in addition to the $150 for the out-of-pocket expenses. The state recommends a total monthly amount of $740 with appropriate step downs, also to account for this out-of-pocket cost. These step downs would be amended as follows. The 740 to 642, and then a final step down of of 543.
Okay. All right. Uh, Based on the evidence presented here today, I'm going to amend the child support review order that was in this case, or recommended in this case, to include an additional $150 for special needs for the child. That would mean a monthly child support of $740 a month. That's the only amended portion of the order that I'm entering at this time. All other matters that were not in disagreement will be approved by the court.
Your Honor, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
For all the back pay for all the months that he hasn't sent child support from December to now.
Was that covered in the child support review order?
I've only gotten 3 payments of $300 within all these months. And the stimulus check that was supposed to have been sent to him was sent to us.
Okay. I'm looking at the order that was done. Well, it does appear that there was when you all went to that negotiation conference back in February
Okay.
of this year, they did confirm that Mr. Flores was behind in child support $2,143. This is as of the end of January. And he was ordered to pay an additional $75 on that judgment. This new order that I'm issuing today for the 700, for the 590 plus the 150, let me see when it started. Okay, this new order was, according to the proposed order, was the new amounts were to commence on March the 1st. So if there's anything that has not been paid up until February or January, that could be confirmed at a later hearing. I can only, I can't confirm anything that's already been confirmed by the protected by this order. In other words, they did confirm what he owed you as of January. Now, whatever he owes you since January under this new order, that can be confirmed at some later date according to this new order. Okay, so he still owes you what he was behind back in January. If he's not been paying the 590, and now the additional 150 as of that date, then the Attorney General can still confirm that arrearage. Okay. So kind of like a roundabout answer, way to answer that question, but he still owes you what he owes you.
So my child support before this hearing was about $1,300.
The previous child support was $1,444. I don't know if there was an order for medical support. With
No,
this support order is now $740 for the 3 children. Of course, keep in mind too that Janita's child support will continue indefinitely.
okay,
And that was already found in the previous court orders that I was able to locate. But there was
correct.
already a previous finding of, I hate to say it, but that's what the wording was, that this was a disabled child for life.
Correct.
So that child support will still be continue to be paid for her. Okay. It's a permanent child support order.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else from either party?
Excuse me. I talked to Attorney General about the insurance. I'm not going to be able to provide insurance through the company. And I was willing to get like insurance like through Medicaid. In order,
What the order was.
like in order,
I think the order
I
that
know,
was Attorney General's
sorry.
office was for that, sir. It says government medical assistance,
Yeah,
$170.
yes, and I talked to,
Okay. What was your question, Mr. Flores? That was covered in the that order that was done in February.
sorry,
Flores, are you still there?
it's cutting
I
off.
hear you, sir. Okay,
Can
well,
you
that
hear me?
will be addressed in that order. Any other questions from either party?
Your Honor, the state would just like to clarify the amended child support amount of the 740 to account for the 150 additional expenses. Are the step down amounts also going to be increased by 150 or just the current amount for all 3 children?
All right, well, the oldest child is the one that has the special needs, so I would assume it would be the 150 plus whatever the step down amounts are.
Yes, Your Honor. So
All other
then
matters
it would
are
be
approved. I'm sorry.
sorry, Your Honor. For the record, I would just like to recite the new amounts. The new amounts would be 740, 642, and 543.
Okay. All right. Okay, go ahead and prepare the order. Send it to me through that DocuSign application. Once I receive it, I will sign it, and a copy of that order will be filed with the clerk's office, and parties will receive a copy of the order. I will tell parties that if either party is dissatisfied with my ruling here today, you do have right to appeal my decision to the referring court. The referring court in this case is the 383rd District Court. That's the Honorable Judge Mike Herrera. I think I'm right on that one. Let me see here.
I do too.
Let me make sure.
And this goes into effect as of this coming month?
I'm going to make it retroactive to the date that of the child support review order. I'm checking on something right now. Hold on a second. 0, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 2, 4. Yes, the referring court in this case is the 383rd District Court. That's your Honorable Judge Mike Herrera. He's up on the 11th floor. You do have right to appeal my decision. However, like I said, you have to be appealed within 3 days from today's date. Right, Ms. Kaplan, you have all the information you need for the order?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead and prepare the order. I'll sign it today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That concludes our hearing for today. Parties are excused. All right, so then we can all sign out now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask about a quadro.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, you know what? We got the NCP on Claudio's case signed in. And I think Mr. Flores already is long since gone. No,
Sorry, I'm here.
I'm sorry. Who was that?
Sorry.
I mean, who's talking, please? Is that Mr. Flores?
Yes, sir.
Is that you talking, sir? All right. Yeah. So I don't know what. I don't know, Mr. Hargis, or maybe Lindsay. You can talk to him or get some locate information for him or whatever. But okay, you had a question about the Quadro.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, my usual thing about the hold on a second,